Most of the workers on tobacco farms in Kazakhstan come from poor parts of Kyrgyzstan just to seek a basic living for themselves.
Ошол 10 жылдан бери Казакстанга барам. 10 жыл болду мага. Эми шартыбыз мында селканада жашайбыз. Тиричилик болачак 3 балам бар. 2 кыз, 1 улум бар.
Tobacco farming is a long season involving many steps. Usually around March and April, migrant workers are growing seedlings in greenhouses, which then they transplant to the fields. Then for several months, they're watering them, fertilizing, maybe applying pesticides, hoeing, just encouraging those plants to grow. And once the plants are several feet tall, they begin to harvest the leaves. They pull the leaves off just by hand. Then they string the tobacco using very large, thick needles to dry for about 2 weeks. And then it's placed in large bales that then are delivered to Philip Morris Kazakhstan for purchase. Philip Morris International is one of the largest tobacco companies in the world. They own the world's leading brand, Marlboro cigarettes. Philip Morris Kazakhstan is a subsidiary. They contract directly with the Kazakhstani landowners, and the landowners in turn hire the migrant workers. So Philip Morris Kazakhstan doesn't directly employ the migrant workers, but they certainly have a responsibility for the conditions of work all through their supply chain. Very often migrant workers, because they are so poor, they arrive in Kazakhstan and they have little or no money. They only receive one lump sum payment at the end of the season, and they just become dependent on the landowner to provide them with basic necessities. Instead of earning wages, they're incurring debts. Migrant worker could work for an entire season for 8 or 9 months farming tobacco, and at the end of that season end up owing the landowner money.
Men Melsага эр койгонмун паспортторду. Азыр баягыдай ошо этке учетко коюп коюлат. Келет деди, биз буяка жөнөп аткан түнү саат 12-де барып Мелсаганадан алып келип бердик. Учет жок, эч беле жок. Ошо менен келдик, камоюнда штраф төктүк. Өткөлө.
Landowners often confiscate the workers' passports, and so again, workers are trapped. This system whereby workers receive only a single payment at the end of the season has led to situations of forced labor where not only are they expected to do the tobacco farming, but other jobs around the house, other farming, for which they don't get any pay.
50-60 tonna piyazını jiyip berdik. Da şu 1 ay 2 ay yeme kılıp. Oşonda da jakşı bolдук da.
Акчага?
Kayakta akça bekerge. Aytpayım, otunuga çeyin jiyip berdik uyga.
It makes the workers feel pressured to remain in abusive situations, encourages child labor. It makes them very vulnerable.
Saat 4'te polyaga barabız. Saat 10'gacha üzüp kelebiz. Andan keyin saat 11'de birlerde jatabız. Andan keyin dagım saat 4'te barıp polyaga barıp saat 10'gacha üzüp kelebiz. Andan kelip tizip saat 12'gacha tizebиz.
Mektebiň ne oldu?
9 ay barabay mektepten kaldık.
Tobacco farming is considered one of the worst forms of child labor. No children under the age of 18 should be working in it at all. The children that we saw ranged from 10 to 17. Some migrant workers lived in farm structures, barns, or storage. A lot of them lived in makeshift housing on the tobacco fields. These were structures that they built themselves. In some cases, we saw them storing fertilizer, maybe some other equipment that they used right in the areas where they were living and eating and cooking. A company like Philip Morris International has responsibility for all the practices that go on throughout its supply chain. And that includes the treatment of migrant workers who are farming the tobacco that is eventually sold to Philip Morris Kazakhstan and used in Philip Morris International brand cigarettes. Thank